So this is Abraham Maslow's theory of education. Abraham Maslow was born April 1st, 1908, and he died June 8th, 1970. He was an American psychologist. He was known for Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is a theory of psychological health based on people needing to have basic needs met before reaching more social, emotional, and self-reflecting needs. So the main premise of Maslow's theory was that Maslow believed that people are motivated to achieve certain needs. Maslow also believed that some needs take precedence over others. Maslow thought that the most basic needs for physical survival, and that's what motivates our behavior. If we are not meeting the needs at the bottom, there's no way to work your way up to the more essential needs, which is just meaning that we're going to look at the diagram here in a second, but if you look, there's like a pyramid. So he's saying if you can't meet the basic needs of like the food, shelter, water, it's hard to reach that top self-reflecting stage because you aren't really focused on that. You're focusing on your basic needs like food, water, and shelter. Maslow's thinking was that you don't always have to go directly up. You can bounce between the levels to satisfy oneself. Growth needs do not stem for lack of something, but rather for a desire to grow. So that's basically just saying that you aren't really looking at something because you're lacking it. You're looking more because you're trying to grow as a person. The main components of the theory, so these are the 5 components. The first one is psychological needs. So the biological requirements for a human survival, like air, food, drink, shelter, clothing, warmth, and sleep. These are the needs need to be met by a person for the functioning success. So basically what I said earlier, you need these to be able to be successful. If you don't have the food or the drinking water or drink or the shelter, it's kind of hard to focus on those other things because you're more focused on those basic needs that you need to survive. The second component is the safety need. So the protection from elements, security, order, loss, stability, freedom from fear. The next one is love and belongingness needs. So this is the need for interpersonal relationships like friendship, intimacy, trust, acceptance, receiving and giving affection and love. The next one is esteem needs, the need for esteem of oneself, dignity, achievement, and mastery, and the respect from others, status, and prestige. So if you look at that, it's not just you looking at yourself, but also how others view you, the respect you get from others as well, the status that they might give you. And then the last one is self-actualization needs, when the person is searching for personal growth and peak experience or the desire to become the best you can. So this is the chart here. If you look at the chart, so down here is your basic needs, the being able to breathe, food, water, sleep. These are the needs that you need to be able to move up through the chart. So be able to move up through here. So just like I said down here, this is the basic needs, and this is your safety needs. If you have this, you're able to focus more on your safety because you aren't really worried about where am I going to get my food, where am I going to get my water, and then so on. So if you have the safety, you can more so focus on the belongings of friendship, family, those things. And over here it says a person's motivation to reach his or her full potential, as shown in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. A person's basic needs must be met before self-actualization can be achieved. So basically, you have to reach all of these down here to be able to look at yourself, be able to look back at yourself and see what you might need to change to better yourself. So the conditions for learning. The students need to have a reliable caregiver to feel safe, which usually occurs maybe in the school or at home. So they need to have that reliable parent or the reliable daycare person or the reliable teacher for them to be able to feel safe to be able to achieve these other things. It helps to motivate the person to reach the next tier. So if they don't have something, it kind of motivates them. Learning occurs through experiences and through the needs of a person that is being focused on. The teacher is relied upon for the fundamental needs. So like I said earlier, the teacher kind of lays the groundwork for them to be able to reach those things. So they give them that safe environment, the safe learning environment, and the student is the one who gains the motivation. So again, the role of the teacher and the leaders are the primary source for the 4 parts of self-esteem, sense of belonging, safety, and psychological. So those are the kind of the tiers that we already talked about in that chart. So that's kind of what the teacher is responsible for. They lay that groundwork for the student to be able to reach those other tiers, be able to feel that safe environment, to be able to move up through to reach that self-actualization stage. If the teacher can do that for the student, the better of the learners will be to learn, grow, and achieve the classroom. Maslow believed that the educator should know all the students' levels of knowledge so that they know how the student is progressing. So basically being able to see where that student was at when you first met them and how they might be progressing in those things, or what you might need to help them with to be able to move through those stages. And then the role of the student is the student's responsibility is for them to be able to reflect back on how they are working through the tiers. This helps the student see that what they're doing can affect themselves and others in everyday life. And this will also help the student move through the tiers and see how successful they are or what they're lacking. So again, if you lay that groundwork for the student, it's easier for them to be able to reach that top tier, or be able to be in the middle of one of those tiers and be able to look back and see what they might need to be able to reach that top goal. What am I missing that's distracting me maybe? So this is what the theory looks like. One way to implement Maslow's hierarchy or the theory is by taking regular breaks during class for food and bathroom breaks. So this is just meeting their basic needs. So like we said already, they need that water, they need that safety. So this will be helping them reach that, so they'd be more focused on class and what they should be learning, instead of them thinking in their mind about the water or the bathroom break throughout the day. The next one is providing food breaks and providing food for the students. So some of those students, if you've been in a classroom already, you might have seen that some students might lack the providing of food. Their only meal might be in school that day. So being able to provide that food for the students helps them maybe to forget about that at the time, so they're able to continue learning throughout the day. Provide students with a safe and healthy learning environment. Show respect and compassion for the students' work and lives so they know that you are there for them. So that would be part of the love or belonging stage, them knowing that you're there to care for them, you're there to help them. Allow them the opportunities for students to collaborate with other peers. So again, the love and belonging stage, being able to have them work through that relationship with the peers. And then praise students for things throughout the day, like well done or keep it up. So now we're going to watch a video talking about Maslow's needs. So as you can kind of see there, that just is kind of an example of how you might play that throughout the day, with being able to. I know the one girl in the back was saying she felt like the teacher didn't really like her. That's another example of something they can be distracted by. I know the kid in the front, he was waiting for lunch, so he kept thinking about lunch and when's it's time to eat. And then the middle one, he was also worried about his dog. So that was something that they might have been distracted by, which leading them to not learn throughout the day. So by meeting those basic needs as a teacher, so you're helping them meet those basic needs or those needs, it's able to help them be able to learn throughout the day. So I know giving the kid an apple, that might help him from being distracted about lunch, or maybe giving a call to home, talking about the dog, seeing what happened with the dog, getting updates for that student, and then just showing that girl that you care about her. You're there to listen to her, hear her concerns if she has them throughout the day, instead of kind of just blowing her off. So that was just an example of how it might work throughout the day, or some things that might happen throughout the day that you might use to help them meet those basic needs. So this is what I like or dislike about the theory. I like that it sets out steps or tiers for the students to look at progress and be able to bounce between different needs. I like that it motivates students to better themselves and keep themselves safe, happy, and healthy. I dislike at times that the more than we know in today's society, some students don't have the most important needs met for that essential to be successful. I like that a lot of school systems now have implemented a food program, so those two kind of go along with each other. Just talking about why I dislike it, because I feel like some of those students don't really have that food, that shelter that they might need. So being able to have these school systems or implement this food program helps those students be able to focus on school instead of the food, because they have that food security now with those food systems. So here's just an example right here. In my student teaching experience, I was able to see the first need getting met by the backpack program, where students had food for the weekend. So as we learned throughout this PowerPoint, if the first need is not met, if the first need is met, it leads to more success in student learning and helping them meet their needs. So basically, this backpack program was helping these students get food sent home for the weekend, because they might not have had that opportunity during the weekend to have those 3 meals met. So sending this food home gave them this security of being able to meet that first need. Thank you for watching my presentation on Maslow, and these are my works cited.